The U.S. Surgeon General has issued a new advisory on a growing youth mental health crisis, warning that depression and anxiety symptoms in young people have doubled worldwide during the pandemic.
Approximately 1 in 3 high school students experienced poor mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the prevalence of poor mental health was highest among gay, lesbian, or bisexual students.
Continued isolation during the pandemic has mental health experts worried about LGBTQ youth managing all the pressure.
Riverside Unified School District guides over 40,000 students in their educations across 50 schools. STEM High School, one of RUSD's newest campuses, is uniquely small with only a few hundred students, providing those students an unprecedented ability to create change in their communities. We, Raine and Talia, two STEM students ourselves, set out on a civics project to address the clear need for LGBTQ student mental health support following the pandemic.
I feel like they kind of had to suffer in silence and not really be out, because I know a lot of people are not out to their parents, and some of them may have like homophobic parents, you know, religion, stuff like that. So I feel like they didn't really have a support system to really lean on, and that's a really important aspect. And other than that, it was just kind of like they had to kind of keep it to themselves, and that can really be hard because you can't really be yourself, and that's just, nobody should feel that.
Well, you know, it's been shown that across the board, people's mental health has suffered. So you think about the statistics of the thing, right? Where a lot of LGBTQ plus folks have a higher incidence of these mental health risks and challenges. So if everybody's at higher risk for developing this isolation, this feeling of being trapped, this feeling of like anxiety and dread from this whole pandemic, lacking connection, right? Now let's multiply that by all of the factors that were already there to begin with for the LGBTQ plus community, and now toss some pandemic and Zoom on there, and you've got yourself a whole big mess.
With this issue in mind, it comes to question what students can do to receive mental health support on school campuses. Along with attempting to integrate mental health into the classroom, RUSD provides Student Assistant Plan, or SAP counselors, as a primary resource to help support the emotional needs of its students.
So I am Mrs. Hunas. I am the SAP counselor here at Riverside STEM Academy. My role here is to support our students with any emotional stuff that they may be going through. If you like to think of it, I am the mental health therapist for the school. So we run groups, we do presentations for staff, anything to just develop or support our students with any type of emotional support.
Despite the presence of SAP counselors on RUSD campuses, many students still find it challenging to seek out mental health support, either because of personal trepidation or lack of awareness of these resources. Although SAP counselors can be a useful resource for students, some believe LGBTQ students may need more specialized mental health support for the specific challenges they face.
About the SAP counselors, you know, I barely hear anything about them. Maybe it's because they're focusing on the middle school, but I really don't hear anything about them, anything from them, or just like I don't feel really the communication between us, or you know. And also going upstairs to like the academic office is a little bit intimidating in of itself, because if you have a mental health issue, you have to go out of your way to do so. Like you have to, like in our school schedule, there isn't really like any period like free time, I guess you could say, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go talk to them.
Your school counselor has a lot on their plate, and they're not necessarily equipped with the tools to do specialized mental health treatment. They're a generalist there to help funnel through and direct traffic. Okay? So we're not going to rely on the school counselor to be like your number one resource for mental health treatment. You know, you're not going to go to the school nurse because you broke your arm in half, right? You're going to go to the ER. It's the same concept. When you need a little bit more help, you're going to be connected with resources that hopefully your school has begun to develop.
When LGBTQ students do want to seek outside mental health support, it's important they are aware of the services different local organizations provide. For example, True Evolution is a Riverside-based nonprofit that provides sexual health services, emergency housing, and behavioral therapy to LGBTQ individuals. Rainbow Pride Youth Alliance is another organization operating in the Inland Empire, advocating for LGBTQ youth and providing them with safe community spaces online. In addition to raising awareness for these organizations, we can also learn from how they adapted operations to the pandemic in order to improve on-campus supports for LGBTQ youth.
A lot of students don't know that there is help out there, and I think that's the biggest issue. Is there is a ton of resources, but nobody knows about them. Each individual organization kind of does their best on like social media or like word of mouth, but it's not always successful in having an entire population know about us. So a lot of high schoolers just kind of don't know that these organizations are out there. A lot of times in the queer and trans community, there are people who don't necessarily want to go into a public space. It's like a really big obstacle to just walk into a GSA meeting.
I think that the pandemic really shined light on how to navigate through certain barriers when it came to outreach. So for instance, like transportation issues or not being out to, family members and go into this queer and trans event or group, right? So I definitely see hybrid kind of being the route that we take for sure.
It's a lot easier to hop onto a Zoom or hop onto an Instagram Live. And I think that people figuring that out helped a lot of people, as well as it's more accessible. So I think that COVID was difficult, but in a way, I don't necessarily want to get rid of online spaces because I think there's a certain accessibility to that helps a lot of people as well.
We spoke to the folks at UCR's LGBT Resource Center to gain some more insight into the power players in educational institutions and how students can advocate for change on their campuses.
One of the things that's really important is people can talk about diversity and inclusivity and not being homophobic or transphobic, but it really comes down to putting a policy in place, putting it in writing. So looking at institutions and places that do that for people. And one of the things that folks don't realize is behind the scenes, people are working, people are fighting the good fight to be able to get access to LGBT competent mental health services and clinicians behind the scenes working to get medical care. And it's really about talking to folks in the position of power and allowing them the opportunity to listen to the students and allowing them the opportunity to expand their minds because they can use their privilege to assist others.
Our action plan is a multifaceted approach to improve the campus environment for LGBTQ students at STEM while simultaneously spreading awareness for the mental health resources available to them. We created a GSA club at STEM, focusing on creating a safe space on campus where LGBTQ students could freely discuss mental health and current issues.
So having GSAs is absolutely crucial. Having a safe place to go, one safe place, can make the difference between someone going forward in their transition, someone choosing not to commit suicide, someone choosing to come out.
To further the representation of LGBTQ topics in the educational curriculum, we provided short lessons on LGBTQ history and started a book club focusing on LGBTQ authors and stories. To spread awareness of our cause and create positive online spaces for queer students, we created an Instagram account and website where we shared our progress as well as resources that are available to LGBTQ youth in Riverside. We conducted multiple campaigns in order to increase LGBTQ visibility across campus, including making posters for influential Black LGBTQ+ historical figures during Black History Month and hosting a lunch event for Transgender Day of Visibility. With the club on our school's campus, we have been advocating for a preferred name and pronoun form to be sent out to students, helping prevent the harmful mental health impacts of misgendering and dead naming on trans and gender nonconforming students. In the future, we hope to bring in outside speakers from the organizations we have been in contact with. Additionally, we will work with our school's Gen Up representative to help unite the GSAs across the Riverside area and provide schools with the necessary resources and toolkits to create safer environments for LGBTQ students. At the end of the day, what we're doing here on the STEM campus is just one small part of a much bigger picture. Change is being made all the time, even when you don't realize it. To all the queer youth out there, just know that you've got a whole community out here to support you.
Question?
If you had one thing you could say to all the LGBTQ students within IUSD, what would you say?
Love you.
Very nice.
Alright. You're the best.
I would say don't let anybody dim your light. Be all that you are and shine brightly.
You have a secret army supporting you, and you might not know it. It's like having a bunch of spies. You don't know if they're on your side. They're out there. You're not alone in this, and there's a lot more people here to love you.
I think I would say it's okay to be you, and don't let anyone tell you different. It may take you a while to find your identity, to find everything that's inside of you and bring it out. But remember, you are special. You matter. And that's what's really important.
Slay!